Hi there, welcome back. It's Deborah, and I'm going to share with you the 5 love languages. This is a fabulous tool in the love and connection module. I love love languages. It's one of those things that if you've never seen it before, once you realize what your love language is and what your partner's love language is, it gives you a whole new dimension of being able to love one another in a way where you really feel it. So I'm really excited about sharing this with you. I honestly believe that if I had have known this before my first marriage broke down, we could have had a chance. This was one book that has changed my life. So let me share with you about Dr. Gary Chapman. He is a well-known marriage counsellor. He's a PhD, an author, a speaker, and runs seminars and workshops on helping couples to create a really happy, healthy, thriving relationship. He has a passion for people and wanting to help them form lasting and loving relationships. In his early years in practice, he noticed over and over that couples would voice similar complaints regarding their marriage. One of the couples would say, "I feel like he doesn't love me." And then the partner would say, "I don't know what else to do. I'm doing everything I should be doing." And there'd be this constant frustration between the two of them. The wife would be feeling like her partner or husband doesn't love her, and the husband was feeling disempowered and feeling like, "I'm doing everything I can. I don't know what else to do. How do I make my wife or my partner feel loved?" And so what Dr. Chapman started to realize, what there was patterns that was going on here. So he went through all of his notes over the years and started asking himself some questions. And the questions he was asking was, when someone says, "I feel like my spouse doesn't love me," what is it that they actually want? The question was, what do they really want in that? And surprisingly, what happened was that his answers fell into 5 categories. And this then was the birthplace of revealing his unique approach to how people effectively love one another. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So, the simple premise of the love languages model is that different people with different personalities express and receive love in different ways. So, how do you receive love? How do you know when you are feeling loved? This is a question that we don't even think about, but we would then say, "Well, you don't love me," or "I don't feel loved," or there's this underlying unhappiness within a relationship where people, we don't feel like our partners really care about us or they really love us. And what that's telling you is that your love language is not necessarily being met in the relationship. It's not that your partner doesn't love you. It's not that your partner doesn't want to love you. They perhaps just don't know how to show it in your language. It's like speaking French and Italian. If you know how to speak French and you speak to someone who speaks in French, you will understand one another and you will hear them, you'll understand what they're saying, and you'll feel the expression. Whereas if someone's speaking Italian to you and you can't speak that language, you're not going to understand, you're not going to feel the message, you're not going to hear the message. And it's the same with love languages. If you have a certain love language but your partner doesn't, it means that your partner needs to make an effort to express their love to you in the way that you will understand it. Let me go on and explain a little bit further. So, lasting relationships, like anything worthwhile, take intentional commitment over time, and that means intentional action to your love language, not your personal love language, but your partner's love language. When you're not on the same page, keeping your love alive can feel intimidating or even impossible. It's like frustrating even. So, you feel like you're doing everything you possibly can, but your partner is just not feeling the love and they're expressing it to you, and that can be quite frustrating, right? So a simple truth is that relationships grow and last better when we understand each other, when we understand each other at a deeper level. So everyone gives and receives love differently. And it's helpful to have an insight into these differences. So, understanding your own love language and how you receive love, and then also understanding your partner's love language and how they receive love. Now, when you do this, this empowers you to be able to then give love in a way that your partner will receive, will feel, and will know that they are being loved by you. When we can confidently be equipped to communicate love so that our partner feels it, it completely transforms your relationship. And this is true for all relationships. It doesn't matter whether it's a married couple or a dating couple. It doesn't matter whether it's children or teenagers, friends or co-workers, brand new lovers, or whether it's a romance that's been going for a long, long time and that it's older than the hills. It does not matter. This is something that is a common thread within all relationships and within all people, because we are all different, right? So it makes sense that we would love differently and we would also feel love differently. But the 5 categories are, let me share them with you. Oh, this is the book by Dr. Gary Chapman. I highly recommend that you grab yourself a copy of this. I'm just going to give you a summary, but the book is an easy read. It's a great read, and it'll empower you to understand the 5 love languages at a deeper level. And as it says there, it's the secret to love that lasts. So the first one is gifts. People who like gifts or that feel loved when they receive a gift, what it tells them when you give them a gift is that you've been thinking about them, that you care about them, that you love them. It doesn't necessarily have to be an expensive gift. It can just be a little token. It's the fact that you have actually thought about them and that you've bought them a gift. Now, quite often, people whose love language is gifts will often be the person that gives gifts a lot, because that's how they experience love themselves. So they think, well, if I give you gifts, then I'm showering you with love. However, if your love language is not gifts, then it's not going to hit the mark for you. It's not going to land how they want it to land. The second one is quality time, and this is where you're spending time together. This is where you're giving your spouse or each other time. It might be cooking a meal together, it might be just doing the dishes together, but it's where you are giving each other time, taking a walk together, sitting on the couch together with the TV off, really connecting and listening. You know, having a coffee together after work is a great one, or a glass of wine. So it's quality time with no one else around and connection, true connection. The next one is physical touch. Oh, aren't they cute? And this is literally touching. So holding hands, hugging, kissing. It can be sexual intercourse. It can be just touching on the shoulder as you walk past. You'll usually find that people whose love language is physical touch are quite touchy people. You know, they always want to hug when you meet them. And my husband's love language is physical touch, and I'm aware of this. So every time I walk past him, I make a conscious effort just to touch him on the arm, or I might squeeze his shoulder or touch the back of his head. And that's just giving him a little nod to know that I'm loving him. And sometimes you can actually see him stop and like really feel that and experience that love. If your partner's love language is physical touch, just by simply touching them or giving them a hug or walking past them and touching their shoulder can be adding to their love tank constantly by doing that. Acts of service is the next one. So this is where you do something for your spouse. So that might look like maybe cooking a meal, or washing the dishes for them, or vacuuming the floors, or washing the car. It's doing something for them that helps them out. Now, often if someone's love language is acts of service, you'll find that they do a lot for others. They're always doing for others and helping others. My mum's love language is acts of service, and she's always doing something for someone. It's quite uncanny the way it works. And then the last one is words of affirmation. And that's where you're literally telling your partner that you love them. So I love you. It might be the little notes. It might be cards that you write for them. The spoken word and the written word is really important to someone who has words of affirmation as their love language. A client whose love language was words of affirmation shared with me that, her teenage son wrote her a beautiful card for her birthday. The card meant more to her than anything. The words in the card meant more to her than any of the gifts, any of the expensive things. The words were priceless. So, words of affirmation, if your partner's love language is words of affirmation, it's really important that you are acknowledging them, that you are affirming them, and that you are letting them know that you love them, you appreciate them, and that you value them. So these are the 5 love languages. There's gifts, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and words of affirmation. Now, you might have a bit of a clue as to which one is yours and also which one is your partner's. And there's the book again. So, keeping your love alive is what we want to do. And one of the ways that you can do that is by using love languages as a tool in your relationship. So, it's time to find out what your love language is. And then once you've done that, to share with each other what your love languages are. Now, each of you will have at least one preferred love language, and usually there's a second one that becomes apparent. So that means that if you wanted to, radically strengthen and improve your relationship, your connection, your intimacy, then start doing things that will give your partner their love language. Love languages is not about you receiving your love language as such. It's about you giving to your partner in a way that they actually feel it, that they receive it. So you'll see in the portal there is a link to take the 5 love languages quiz today. It only takes a few minutes, and then you'll get the top 1, 2, and 3. Discover how each of you prefer to give and receive love. And when you do that, you want to start to do daily small things for your partner through their love language, not your love language. Okay, so have some fun with this. I highly recommend you grab a copy of the book as well. Quite often you can find them in secondhand bookstores. It's a great book. It's been around for a really, really long time, or get it on Audible if that's what you want to do. Okay, so that's the 5 love languages. Have some fun with it and start to implement this in your daily life, and enjoy building and strengthening that love and connection between the two of you. Bye for now.